Before there was the United States, before independence, there were 13 colonies under the rule of Britain. The story of the British Empire in America is one of ambition, conquest, rebellion, and revolution. Today, we uncover how Britain rose to dominate North America and how it lost it all. The British story in America begins in 1607 with Jamestown, Virginia, the first permanent English colony. The New World promised resources, trade, and land. Soon after, Pilgrims arrived in Massachusetts, laying the foundations for what would become New England. By the mid-1600s, Britain's presence stretched along the Atlantic coast. Tobacco, cotton, and trade enriched the empire. Native nations, however, paid the price through displacement, disease, and warfare. But Britain wasn't alone. France and Spain also sought control of the continent. The 18th century brought fierce competition, leading to the French and Indian War, part of a global conflict known as the 7 Years' War. Britain emerged victorious, seizing Canada from France in 1763. At that moment, Britain stood as the most powerful empire in North America. Victory came at a cost. Wars drained Britain's treasury, and London turned to the colonies for revenue. Taxes like the Stamp Act and Tea Act angered colonists, who began to cry, "No taxation without representation." From protests to boycotts, and eventually open rebellion, the 13 colonies began to see themselves not as subjects of the crown, but as Americans. In 1776, the colonies declared independence. What followed was the American Revolutionary War, a struggle between the world's greatest empire and a determined new nation. Against all odds, the colonies triumphed with support from France and Spain. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris recognized the United States of America. For Britain, it was one of the greatest defeats in imperial history. But it would not mark the end of the British Empire. The end of its first great chapter. The loss of America reshaped Britain's empire. No longer able to dominate the 13 colonies, Britain turned its attention to Asia, Africa, and Australia. Yet the American Revolution left a lasting legacy. The idea that empires could be challenged and that nations could rise from rebellion. The British Empire in America was a story of opportunity and oppression, of prosperity and protest. It gave rise to a new world power and marked the beginning of the end for an old one. What lessons do we take today from the rise and fall of empires?